If you booted up a Nintendo Game Boy in 1996 to play Pokémon Red or Blue, you were immediately met with a highly specific piece of pixel art. Before the title screen even appeared, the game presented a fierce physical clash. On one side, a spectral, shadowy entity. On the other, a horned, spiky creature lunging forward to strike it. These combatants are Gengar and Nidorino. This encounter represents a specific match from the lore, the duel between elite trainers Agatha of the Elite Four and Professor Oak. But looking at the original 151 designs, placing Nidorino in this opening spotlight is a bizarre decision. Nidorino is a mid-stage evolution. It isn't a final boss, and it isn't a starter Pokémon. The game completely skips over the obvious candidates for a cinematic introduction. There is no Pikachu on this screen. There is no Charizard. Instead, the developers handed the opening frame of their entirely untested franchise to a highly obscure, intermediate monster. That decision came down to tone. Nidorino's design deliberately bypasses cute appeal in favor of thick hides, sharp spikes, and physical aggression. It represents the grounded, raw biological concept that originally defined the Pocket Monster premise. The opening battle establishes the boundaries of this new fictional universe through contrast. By pitting Gengar against Nidorino, the game immediately demonstrates that this world contains both untouchable supernatural phenomena and heavy terrestrial biology. Nidorino serves as the perfect biological specimen. Its anatomy is a chimera-like blend. It has the large, highly sensitive ears of a rabbit, the heavy, four-legged stance of a rhinoceros, and a scale-like venomous skin texture that reads as distinctly reptilian. Its primary offensive weapon is the prominent horn on its forehead. According to the Pokédex, this structure is harder than diamond, and Nidorino regularly uses it to violently shatter heavy boulders in its path as it searches for evolution stones. That physical power is linked directly to its volatile nervous system. Nidorino is incredibly quick to anger, and as its adrenaline levels spike during a confrontation, the chemical potency of its internal poison increases. To hunt or defend itself, Nidorino relies on pure kinetic force. The sheer physical impact of its strike acts as a syringe, driving the horn deep into an opponent to inject that adrenaline-fueled venom. By establishing these biological traits, the developers set a clear expectation for the player. Nidorino operates as a volatile adolescent apex predator, far removed from the safe, marketable aesthetics of a cuddly mascot. This emphasis on raw aggression in 1996 meant that as the series' mechanics evolved in later generations, Nidorino found a specific niche in competitive play that matched its original flavor. This chart compares the physical attack stat ceiling of a neutral nature Nidorino on the left to an adamant nature Nidorino on the right. When the nature system was introduced later, competitive players realized they could maximize Nidorino's damage by sacrificing its special attacks, effectively leaning into the creature's original aggressive profile. Pushing that stat allows Nidorino to fill a highly specific competitive role known as a wall breaker. When opponents send out slow, heavily armored Pokémon to stall a match, a wall breaker is deployed to shatter them through sheer, overwhelming force. Players further optimize this role by utilizing the Poison Point ability. This provides a 1 in 3 statistical probability of poisoning any enemy that makes physical contact with Nidorino's spikes, a mechanical realization of the toxicity described in its earliest Pokédex entries. By equipping modern items like the Choice Band, which amplifies physical power, players can lock Nidorino into the move Sludge Bomb. This powerful setup uses Nidorino's venomous traits to provide the maximum forward momentum suggested by its aggressive design. While the tools for optimization grew more complex over the decades, they all served the same end, translating Nidorino's in-universe natural history into a gameplay style defined by pure physical assault. Despite all that potential, Nidorino rarely stays Nidorino. In the natural progression of the game, players usually keep it in this mid-stage form only until they unearth a rare evolutionary item, the Moonstone. Exposure to the Moonstone forces a rapid cellular mutation. The mid-sized brawler violently expands into its final stage, trading its speed for heavy armor to become the massive poison and ground-type kaiju, Nidoking. This makes Nidorino an eternal middle child. It exists primarily as a structural bridge, connecting the small, vulnerable critters caught on Route 1 to the massive, earth-shaking titans required to beat the Elite Four. Which brings us back to that 1996 opening cutscene. The developers didn't choose a cute starter or an unbeatable final boss to welcome players. They chose a transitional, aggressive brawler because it honestly represented the core gameplay loop, catching a wild animal, pushing it to its limits, and watching it grow. Nidorino remains the first face of a world that was originally built on teeth, claws, and poison. It set the initial tone for the series, a grounded, fierce entry point into a journey defined by the struggle to evolve.